Hi everyone, good afternoon. Alright, please, as you're joining us, kindly drop your name in the chat and tell me where you're joining from. Alright, so I want to see who is in the room today. Yeah, I hope you guys came prepared. So drop your name, drop your brand, and that's one thing you want to leave today knowing. Alright, so I'll read some of them out before we start. All right, but before we begin, I want to take a moment to, be grateful. I'm someone who believes in God, and I would like to commit everything I do today into God's hands before I begin. So I'm going to say a very short prayer, and if prayer is not your practice, I simply invite you to take this moment to set your intention for the next 90 minutes, all right? So whatever you believe, you're all here for the same reason, to build something real. All right. Right, so I'm quite nervous, and this is actually my very first workshop, and the first time, standing in a room, even a virtual one, and having something to teach. And I believe it's what your son did. And if I'm honest, that took everything in me. This workshop, it took a lot from me. All right, but I showed up anyway because I believe what I'm about to share with you is real. I have lived it, I have dealt with it, and I know what it can do for a brand when it is applied with real intention. So if you see me pause and take a deep breath today, this is why. All right, but I'm nervous or not, I'm ready, and I'm so glad you're here. All right, so let's get started. If you're just joining us, welcome. And welcome and drop your name in the chat and tell me where you're joining from. All right. Okay, so you're going to get started. Welcome once again. Yeah. Welcome once again to welcome once again to turn your beautiful brand into a selling brand. Alright, so but before we dive in, I want to do something a little different. Alright, so when you registered for this workshop, I asked you one question. Um, what is your alright, alright, so I asked you one question. Um, what is your biggest struggle with your beauty brand right now? And you all answered honestly, and I actually read every single response. Right, so before I teach you anything, I want to show you that I actually read it, and I'm going to go through every answer, and I'm not going to call anyone by name. I want this to feel safe. But if you hear your struggle read out loud, know that everything we covered today was built with your answer in mind. Alright, so someone said visibility, and I want to start here because this is the one I hear most often, and it is also the one that is most misunderstood. Alright, so it is also the one that is the most misunderstood. And when most beauty brand founders say the struggle with visibility, they mean not enough people are seeing my content. Yes. But here is what I have learned. Here's what I've learned for the time being. Alright, so visibility is really the real problem. Yes. The real problem is clarity. So think about it this way. Imagine you're in a market. Two vendors are selling the same product. One is shouting at everyone who walks past. The other is making eye contact with one specific type of person and speaking directly to them. So now tell me, who gets more sales? It's obviously the second vendor every time. So when your brand is not visible, it is usually because your content is speaking to everyone and landing with no one. Alright, so the algorithm does not push content that does not connect. Alright, so the real people do not share content that does not feel personal. So visibility follows clarity and not the other way around. So the question is not how do I get more people to see my content. The question is, when the right person sees my content, do they immediately feel like I built this for them? Alright, so that is what we are going to fix today with the IACT method. So when you identify your exact buyer and attract her with intentional content, visibility becomes a byproduct and not a goal. So I hope I've been able to answer that. Alright, so someone also said I do not have a brand struggle yet, and I'm still at the beginning. I want to know how to research and pick a product to launch. I actually love this answer because it shows incredible self-awareness. Alright, most people launch a product they love, and then they spend years trying to find someone to buy it. The right approach is the exact opposite. All right, so you start with the person, then you find the product. So I'm going to tell you the framework I use. Step one, you identify the person first. Yes, who you're building for, what does she look like, what is her skin or hair concern, what has she already tried, what has frustrated her, what does she quietly hope your product will finally do for her. All right, so step two, map her frustration to a gap in the market. All right, what product exists for this person right now? Where are they falling short? What is she saying in comment sections, in Reddit trends, in Facebook groups? What word does she use over and over that no brand is responding to? Then step three, yeah. All right, so build the smallest version of the solution before you formulate anything. All right, so test the concept, create content around the problem, then see who responds. Those people are your first customers before your product even exists. All right, so I hope you're getting it. So the brand that launch successfully are not the ones with the best formulas. They are not even the ones. Okay, so they are not even the ones with the best products. They are the ones who understood their buyers so deeply before launch that the product felt inevitable. Alright, so today's workshop is going to give you the first tool you need, your buyer avatar. So start there and every product decision will become obvious. Alright, so someone also said getting sales organically and having to invest in ads before I sell. I would like I would like there to be a shift in that. Oh God. Here is the truth about ads. They do not fix what is broken. Alright. So if your organic content is not converting, your paid content will not convert either. It's people who are not buying. Meanwhile, the shift you are looking for from paid to organic comes from one thing, which is trust. So it comes from one thing, which is trust. At work, because they interrupt. Well, is built on trust, and trust is built slowly through content that speaks to your specific buyer and makes her feel understood. So I'm going to give you an illustration. So, imagine two people asking you to borrow money and so imagine two people asking you to borrow money. The first is a stranger who walked up to you today. The second is a friend who has shown up for you consistently for months. So I need you to answer this question to yourself. Who are you going to give the money to? Obviously, your buyer feels the same way about your brand. So you're actually going to give the money to the second friend, which has obviously shown up to you consistently for 3 good months. So Ads are the stranger organic content, you know, they are done with strategy and alright, so ads are the stranger, while organic contents are done with strategy. Then the IACT method is specifically designed to build the kind of organic trust that converts without ads. So by the time a buyer reaches your CTM, that is your call to action in an organic post, she has already decided. Alright, so the ad is just a confirmation. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to build that trust structure intentionally and post by post. Okay. Someone also said spelling. So scaling is one of those words that sound like one problem but is actually four. So I'm going to break it down. Scaling problem number one, you cannot scale just hoping for more inspiration. Right, so the fix is a system, a content structure that actually runs regardless of how you feel. Alright, so the scaling problem number two, you cannot scale to the wrong audience. You can't scale to the wrong audience. So that means if they buy once and never return, scaling brings more of the same. Okay, so the fix is knowing your buyer so deeply that every person you attract is already predisposed to become a loyal repeat customer. Now, scaling problem number three, you cannot scale without proof. Scaling requires trust at volume, and trust at volume requires testimonials, results, social proof that speak to your specific buyer. Right, so scaling problem number four, you cannot scale a beautiful brand that does not sell. And I actually see this most often. The brand looks so put together, the product is great, content, the product is great, and the brand is actually incredible, but the content does not convert because the messaging is not connected to what your buyer actually needs to hear. So which of these four scaling problem is yours? By the end of today, you will know and you have a starting point to fix it. All right. All right. So someone also said nothing much. It's actually very funny. That's why I was laughing. All right. We're just going through the description because in my experience, nothing much usually means one of two things. Yeah. Either the brand is doing well and they are here to sharpen and grow, in which case, welcome. Today is going to give you new language for what you are already doing genuinely. Alright, so sometimes the struggle is not obvious because it is hiding inside the results we have accepted as normal. Alright, so it could be either consistent posting but really a hook problem, good engagement but low sales, that is a trust problem. Yeah, good engagement but low sales, that is a trust problem. Good sales but inconsistent revenue, that is a retention problem. None of those feel like a struggle until you compare them to what is possible. Alright, so by the end of today, I want you to name your one thing. Yeah. Even if you walked in thinking you did not have one. So alright, so someone also said consistency. I want to tell you what consistency actually is, because most people are actually solving the wrong problem. Most beauty founders think consistency means posting every day. So when they miss a particular day, they feel they have failed. No. And that feeling makes them post late. So that is not a discipline problem, that is a system problem. So real consistency is not about frequency. It's about having a content structure so clear that showing up feels obvious and not forced. Alright, so the difference is that a beauty brand that posts every day with no strategy is consistently focusing okay, so a beauty brand that posts every day with no strategy is consistently confusing their audience. Alright, so meanwhile, a beauty brand that posts 3 times a week with a clear problem, solution, service structure is consistently building trust. If you're just joining us, welcome once again. Alright, so drop your name in the chat and tell me where you're joining from. Alright. Your name, your brand, and that one thing you want to leave today knowing. Alright, so alright, so a beauty brand that posts 3 times a week with a clear problem, solution, service structure is consistently building trust. So which one converts? Consistency without strategy is just noise at a regular interval. So what you need is not more discipline. You need a simpler, clearer system that you can sustain, even on the weeks when life is full. So, and that is what today is going to give you. So sit tight and you're gonna get it. Someone said setting structure, getting my targeted audience, and converting into sales. I have to be honest, when I read this answer, I I really felt it, because this is the most complete articulation of what the IACT method was built to solve. A structure, targeted audience, conversion, that is literally attract, identify, and convert. So the theory of 4 steps of the IACT method named perfectly in one sentence. So today's entire workshop is for you. We are going to take it as your answer. The structure comes from knowing your content pillars and your weekly rhythm. Targeted audience comes from building a building up. I mean, the targeted audience comes from building a buyer avatar so specific that it feels like a real person. While conversion comes from building enough trust through your content that when you make your ask, she is already ready. So these three things are not separate problems. They are connected. They are connected to each other, the system, and a broken link in any of them breaks the whole chain. Alright, so today we are going to build the chain from scratch together. Someone wrote in I didn't really get this, which I'm choosing to interpret as I am here and I am and I'm hoping to live here with I'm hoping to live here with something. So, and honestly, that is the best energy to bring into a room like this. Right, so sometimes the most powerful thing is to arrive without a specific agenda. So to let the content land where it lands, to hear something you don't know you needed to hear. So Sophia or whoever wrote this, I hope something today surprises you, and I hope you leave with one thing you were not expecting, right? Alright, so someone also said knowing how to start building an audience and a customer base without a finalized product. This is one of the most important questions in this room today. And I want to answer it carefully because most people get this completely wrong. So the conventional advice here is finish the product, then market it. Then the strategic reality is build the audience first, then the product almost will sell itself. I'm going to tell you how, don't worry. Alright, so you do not need a finished product to start building. You need a finished perspective. So you need a finished perspective. So what do you believe about beauty that most brands are not saying? What problem are you solving and for whom? What does your ideal buyer struggle with right now before your product even exists? You need to answer those questions. Right, so you start creating content around those questions, educate, share your perspective, build a community around the problem. Build a community around the problem your product is going to already be waiting for it. Of it this way. Today's avatar is do before you find shows a sophisticated understanding of the problem. Yes, efficacy matters. Yes. So consumers today are more informed and more demanding than ever, but efficacy alone has never been a differentiator for long. So, and that is because your competitor can match your formula. So what they cannot match is your story. Yes, you cannot match your story, your buyer relationship, and even your brand voice. So the real answer is you do not need to stand. So the real answer is you do not stand out in a crowded market by being better. You stand out by being more specific. So the brands that are winning right now are not the ones with the best product. They're the ones who have chosen a specific person and built an entire world around that person's experience. Okay, so let's say, for example, Lush. Um, Lush does not compete with everyone in beauty. Yes, they compete for the person who believes their bathroom routine should be an ethical act. Alright, then well, Glossier does not compete with everyone as well. They compete for the woman who believes real skin is beautiful. And that specificity is the differentiation. Alright, so the more specific your brand is about who it is for, the more invisible the competition becomes. Because your buyer stops comparing you to other brands, and that is fact. So your buyer stops comparing you to other brands. Feel they start feeling like you were built specifically for her. So, and a brand built specifically for her cannot be replicated by a crowded market. Alright, so someone also said building a premium brand that stands out in a saturated market while ensuring the product delivers on the brand promise. This is a two-part question, and both parts matter equally. So part one is standing out in a saturated market. I'll tell you, premium is not a price point. Premium is a feeling, and that feeling is created in every single touch point, not just the product. The caption, the graphics, the DM reply, the packaging, the way you respond to comments, the story you tell in your bio. So a premium brand that uses generic caption structure, no hook, no story, no CTA, is sending a mixed message. So the visuals say luxury, the copy says ordinary, and the buyer feels that. Right, so and the buyer feels that, okay, I don't think this brand was meant for me. So that feeling of dissonance, even if she cannot name it. So standing out in a saturated market means creating complete consistency between what your brand looks like and what it sounds like. Well, part two is ensuring the product delivers on the brand promise. Oh my god, this is about the gap between the promise and the experience. If your brand promises luxury, the unboxing must feel luxurious. Most brands miss is that the brand promise must be, but does your buyer know what it will do for her? So you know what your product does, but does your buyer know what it will do for her, for a specific concern, in a specific context? So the buyer avatar we build today is the bridge between your product promise and your buyer's desire. So when those two things are in a perfect alignment, a premium brand does not just stand out. The premium brand does not just stand out, it becomes the only option for the right buyer. And the final answer, how to attract customers. I saved this word for the last because it's actually the simplest, yes, and the most fundamental. So attracting customers is not about having the right hashtags or posting at the right time or going as beauty buyer scrolls past your content and things. I think this is actually for me. She stops, she reads, she will follow, and she eventually trust. And at the end of it, she will buy. Because that moment is that feeling of recognition and attraction comes in. So this does not come from a loud content, it comes from a specific content. And the entire IACT method, everything we are going to cover today, is the answer to how to attract customers. So you identify who she is, attract her with content that speaks directly to her, connect with her through trust and authenticity, convert her when the time is right, and that is how to attract customers. So you have to be very specific and not more often, not loud, just about being specific. So welcome to the workshop, everyone, and let's get into it. We are going to get started now. Welcome once again, everyone, to turn your beautiful brand into a selling brand. I'm super excited that we are all here today. Not just because of what we are going to cover, but because of who is in this room. You should stop position already puts you ahead of most people building in this space right now. So what we are going to do in the next 90 minutes is not just talk about strategy. We are going to build it together in real time, and by the time we finish today, you are going to live with something most beauty brands spend years trying to figure out on their own. And more importantly, why I built the framework we are covering today. So why I built the framework we are covering today. I'm Esther John, a global beauty e-commerce performance strategist. But before I had that title, before I had a framework or a LinkedIn following or any of this, I was just a girl in Nigeria who started a hair brand from absolutely nothing. I had no funding, no mentor, no blueprint, just a product I believed in. Right? And the kind of energy, the kind of stubborn energy, yes, kind of stubborn energy that refuses to accept that something won't work. I started my hair brand, It Just Looks Lot, in 2023, and honestly, the first few months really humbled me. Yes, I was busy posting every day. Nobody was buying. I was showing up consistently. Nobody was engaging. Nobody was engaging. I had a great product, but something was still missing. So something shifted, but then something shifted, and that shift became everything I am going to teach you today. So I want to sit in this slide for a moment. There is so much pressure in this. There's so much. Okay. So there is so much pressure in this space to look like you have it all together. To look like your brand is always growing, always converting, always winning. And that pressure makes so many founders feel like they are all and that pressure makes so many founders feel like they are the only ones struggling. Meanwhile, you are not. So I actually posted beautiful content that got likes but no sales. I had customers who admired my brand but never bought, and I could not figure out why. Until I realized the problem was never my product. The problem was that I did not truly understand who I was making it for. So I did not truly understand who I was making it for. I was busy creating content and hoping the right person would find it, and instead of understanding the right person so deeply that my content could not help but reach them. Hoping to understanding So I'm really sorry about what happened. Um, let's let's continue. So I think we were in the third one. Well, let me start from the very first one. So you're going to live with a clear understanding of your ideal buyer, not a vague demographic, a real person with a real name, real frustrations, and real desires. Then two, the psychology behind why beauty buyers actually make purchasing decisions. Because once you understand the psychology, the strategy becomes obvious. Then three, you're going to live with the complete IACT method. Every step is going to be explained by me, and with examples that you can apply to your brand today. Then the fourth one, a 7-day content strategy framework you can implement this week, not next month, this week. Then five, a live brand audit. Alright, so for this particular one, I'm going to pick one person from this room today and review their brand live, using everything we cover, so that everyone could learn from it. So I'm here to tell you that this is not a theory session. You will live with an actual strategy and not just notes, okay? So Alright, so a few things before we start. I sincerely apologize for what happened. I need us to take note of this. Please keep your mic on mute when you're not speaking. It really helps with sound quality for everyone. Drop your questions in the chat as we go. I will check the chat at natural causes and answer throughout. Okay, so everything is being recorded. So if you miss anything, don't worry. We will have the full recording. Your 3 bonus materials: the IACT method, the PDF summary, via avatar template, and the 7-day content calendar will all be sent to your email within 24 hours after today. And please be present. Close other tabs. Your brand deserves. Close other tabs, and please, your brand deserves your full attention for next 90 minutes. I promise it will be worth it. All right, so let's get into it. Section one, the problem. And I want to start with a question for the chat. Put a hi in the chat if you have ever created a content that looked amazing, you know, got loads of likes, comments, good views, and still nobody bought from you. I want to see those hands, please. All right, so all right, so I want you to look at that for a second. You're not alone in this. This is not a you problem. This is an industry problem, and nobody is talking about it enough. So nobody is talking about it enough, honestly, and that's exactly why we are here today. All right, so I'm going to tell you the truth that changed everything for me. The problem is almost never your product. Your product is, probably wonderful. You made it with care, with intention, with real knowledge of what it can do. The problem is that the right person never truly found it. Or maybe they found it, but it never felt like it was built specifically for them. So that is the wrong product, wrong person problem. It does not live in formula, it does not live in your packaging, it lives in your strategy. So I need you to think about it. This way. You could have the most effective skincare serum in the world, but if you're marketing it to everyone, you're connecting with nobody. A woman with dry skin wonders if it is for her. A woman with acne wonders if it will make things worse, and everybody's unsure. Yes. But when your content speaks directly to the woman with dry skin, describes her exact frustration, her exact concern, her exact desired outcome, she does not wonder if it is for her. She knows it is, and she buys. So that specificity is where the strategy lives. So between your brand and your buyer, there is a gap, and I call it the trust gap. So this is what it looks like in real life. The buyer finds your brand, they like what they see, they browse your products, they even add something to cart, and then they just leave. Like how? Like that. So that's not because the product was not good enough, not because the price was too high, not because they changed their mind, but because something did not feel quite right. Something did not build enough trust. Something did not build enough trust. And that gap is costing beauty brands thousands every single month. In the US, over $500 monthly. In the UK, over 400 euros. In Nigeria, over 50,000 naira. So from buyers who wanted to spend their money, who were already on your page or maybe your website, for those that have websites, who just needed a little guidance that nobody gave them. And the most painful part, most brands never know that this is happening. They just see the sales that come in and they never see the sales that almost happened. That invisible loss is what we are fixing today. All right, so I want to make a distinction that I believe will change how. All right, so I want to make a distinction that I believe will change how you see your brand from this moment forward. So there is a difference between a beauty brand and a beauty business. So there's a difference between a beauty brand and a beauty business. A beauty brand has great products and obviously a beautiful feed, and yes, those things matter. But a beauty business has all of that plus a strategy, a system, and a deep understanding of exactly who their buyer is and why they buy. So look at this comparison. A beauty brand posts beautiful content. A beauty business posts strategic content with a specific purpose. And speaking to a specific person, designed to move them along a specific journey. So a beauty brand chases followers, while a beauty business tracks conversion, because followers do not pay bills. Yes, meanwhile conversions do. A beauty brand sells products, a beauty business solves problems. And there is a world of difference between those two things. A beauty brand posts and praise. Yes. A beauty business posts with intention, but that will not stop the person from praying. So the brands that are actually winning right now, not just looking like they're winning, but they're genuinely growing and converting. They're not just beauty brands, they are beauty businesses. And that is what we are building today. So before we go into the solution, I want to name the three mistakes. The three mistakes I see most often in big brands and small brands as well. So the mistakes that I see in Nigerian brands and international brands, in skincare and in hair care as well. So mistake one, Step one, speaking to everyone and connecting with nobody. When your content tries to appeal to every possible buyer, it ends up resonating with none of them because the language is too general, the message is too broad, and the buyer who could have been your most loyal customer scrolls right past. Then mistake two, selling before building trust. I see this constantly. Like a brand launches and post product photos, immediately puts up a price list, and then wonders why nobody is buying. People do not buy from strangers. I said this earlier. They buy from people they trust. You cannot shortcut that. That is just it. So mistake three, focusing on followers instead of conversions. I have seen brands with 50,000 followers making fewer sales. Yes. So they make fewer sales than brands with 2,000 followers. So that's because one brand had a strategy and one brand just had an audience. Now the good news is that every single one of these mistakes is completely fixable, and I'm going to show you exactly how right now. So section 2, buyer psychology. This is one of my favorite sections because once you understand this, everything else becomes clear. So we're going to look at 6 psychological principles that influence how beauty buyers think and make purchasing decisions. So these are not theories, they are patterns that show up consistently across every market, every culture, every price point. When you build your strategy on this foundation, you stop guessing. So you start understanding, and that understanding is what actually converts. So please, if you write nothing else today, I need you to write this down. The buyer makes their decision emotionally and they justify it logically. So take this for example. When a woman buys a skincare product, she is not buying ingredients. She is buying the feeling of finally having a skin she is proud of. She's buying confidence. She's buying the version of herself who leaves the house without worrying about her skin. So that is the emotional decision. Then after she has made that um decision, she goes to after she has made that decision, she goes to your product page, reads the ingredients, checks the reviews, looks at the price. So obviously she's looking for logical reasons to confirm a decision she has already made. Remember, the first one was the emotional decision. So what this means for your content is that lead with the emotion, lead with her desired feeling, lead with her frustration and what life looks like without it. Then give her the logical proof to follow through. So I see that most beauty brands do this backwards. They lead with ingredients and certifications and then wonder why the buyer feels nothing. I would always say emotion first, logic second. So I would always say emotion first and logic second. Always have that at the back of your mind, or you could also write that down as well. So principle 1, the halo effect. Your very first impression shapes everything that comes after it. The very first interaction a buyer has with your brand, whether it is a post they scroll past, a DM they receive, or a product they unbox, this creates a foundation that all your future interactions are built on. So if that first impression is strong, professional, warm, clear, they give you the benefit of the doubt that even when something goes wrong later. So I experienced this personally with my hair brand, It Just Looks Love. I had clients who faced delivery delays that would have made most people demand a refund immediately. But because the first impression was strong, because they actually trusted me before the problem happened, they were patient and they stayed. So, and on the other hand, a brand with a weak first impression loses customers over things that should not matter. Could be a slightly unclear caption, a product photo that is not quite professional. Any small thing becomes a reason to be when the very first impression, never built enough goodwill. So now this is why your first post, your first DM, your first unboxing experience deserves your absolute best. Principle 2, loss aversion. So research consistently shows that the pain of losing something is roughly twice as bad as the pleasure of gaining something. This is why FOMO, fear of missing out, is a real and consistent driver of purchasing decisions. When you say only 5 spots remaining, or this offer closes on Sunday, you are not being manipulative. You are speaking to a deeply human psychological reality. So the thought of missing something that could have helped them is more motivating than the thought of gaining it. So the keyword here is honestly. Loss aversion only works when the scarcity is real. If you only say only 3 spots left and you have unlimited spots, your buyers will eventually notice. And the trust you spent months building disappears in seconds. But when you use it honestly, this is one of the most ethical and effective tools in your strategic toolkit. So over to principle 3, the mere exposure effect. The more someone is exposed to something, the more they naturally begin to like and trust it. Alright, so the more someone is exposed to something, the more they naturally begin to like and trust it. That's not because the thing has changed, but because familiarity builds comfort, and comfort builds trust. So think about the beauty brands you personally love and buy from consistently. How many of them showed up in your life multiple times before you ever spent money with them? You saw their content, then you saw it again and again. And somewhere along the line, the stranger became familiar. And that familiar became trusted. And the trusted became the brand you go back to. So this is why showing up consistently, even when it feels like nobody is watching. So this actually takes discipline, and it is the psychological foundation for your brand's credibility. So I have 2 more principles left, and these 2 together are particularly powerful for beauty brands. Confirmation bias. People naturally trust and engage with information that confirms what they already believe. So this means the more you understand the buyer's existing beliefs about their skin, about beauty products, about what works, the more your content can speak directly to those beliefs. And when your message aligns with what someone already believes, the brand stops feeling like a pitch and starts feeling like a friend who just gets it. Right? So if your buyer already believes that most skincare brands use too many unnecessary chemicals, and your content says exactly that, she does not just know, she feels understood. And feeling understood is the most powerful precursor to trust there is. Right, so over to choice overload. So choice overload. When I gave clients too many options with it just looks like, posting different hairs, different types of hairs, showing them 12 styles at once, they would often leave without buying. Not because they did not want to buy, but because the decision became overwhelming. So your buyer should not leave, right? So they should never have to work hard to figure out what is right for them. So you need to guide them, narrow it down, make the choice feel easy, because when the choice feels easy, the conversion happens naturally. And our final psychology. So our final psychology principle, the bandwagon effect. So humans are deeply social creatures. Humans are deeply social creatures. We look to the behavior of others to validate. Alright, so we look to the behavior of others to validate our own decisions, especially when we are very uncertain. This is why social proof is not just a nice feature of the marketing, it's a fundamental psychological mechanism. So when a buyer sees 500 5-star reviews, they feel safer buying, and that is very natural. Even me, I will do same. When they see a real customer posting a real unboxing video, showing genuine excitement, they feel the excitement too. When they see that people like them have bought this product and gotten results, their hesitation dissolves. So start collecting social proof from day one. Screenshot the positive DMs, yes, because you obviously have the negative ones. Ask happy customers to share their results. I usually ask mine to give me unboxing videos. They should share unboxing videos for me, no matter how it is, but they should share it to me. Report the user generated content. Every piece of real evidence you accumulate is another brick in the trust wall that converts browsers into buyers. Alright. Alright, so before we go into the IACT method, I want to do something very interactive. So drop your brand name in the chat and describe your ideal buyer in one sentence. Not a paragraph, just one sentence. So force yourself to be specific, very specific. Let me give you an example. Okay, let's say Ayora Skin for women with dry, sensitive skin who want simple, effective skincare. So that is specific, and that speaks to one person. So go ahead and drop yours now. I don't want you to overthink it. Just drop it and make it specific. All right. Oh God, I love what I'm saying. All right. So just keep that in mind because we will come back to them. All right, so section 3. All right, so section 3. This is the one you actually came for, the IACT method. So everything we have covered so far, the problem, the psychology, the trust gap has been building to this. So because understanding the problem without having a framework to fix it is just frustration without better vocabulary. So the IACT method is a framework. So there are 4 steps and one sequence. And when applied consistently, it transforms how your brand attracts buyers, builds trust, and converts. So I'm going to walk you through it now. So we have 4 letters, 4 steps, and 1 complete journey. So I, which stands for identify. So know your buyer so deeply that when they land on your page, it feels like your brand was built specifically for them. Not for their demographic, but for them. Then A for attract. Pull the right person in, not everyone. Create content so specifically designed for your ideal buyer that when they see it, they feel like it was actually made for them personally. Then C, connect. Build trust before you ever ask for the sale, because people do not buy from brands, they buy from people they trust, and trust is built in every interaction before the sale. Then C, convert. Turn that trust into revenue, and then turn first-time buyers into loyal advocates who bring people with them. So now this is what I need you to understand about the order. You cannot skip steps. You cannot start at convert without doing identify first. So the sequence is the strategy, and I'm going to take you through each one. So identify before you write a single caption, before you design a single graphic, before you shoot a single video, you need to know exactly who you are talking to. I'm not talking about women aged 18 to 35 who like skincare. That is not your buyer. That is a demographic. And demographics do not feel things, people do. And your content needs to make a person feel something, which means you need to know what that specific person feels. So I use 5 questions to reveal the exact buyer. Question 1: what keeps them up at night? This is the frustration beneath the surface. For a skincare buyer, it might be, I have spent so much money and nothing works, and I really do not know what my skin needs. This is a problem your brand exists to solve. Now, question 2: what have they already tried that failed? Your buyer has a history. So understanding what failed them tells you what not to say. Because if you sound like every brand that already let them down, they will not trust you. Then question 3: what do they secretly hope your product will do for them? Not the functional outcome, the emotional one. She does not just want to hear clear skin. She wants to feel confident leaving the house without a makeup. Now, when you speak to that emotional outcome, you move people in a way that ingredients never will. So question 4: what does their daily routine look like? So what does their daily routine look like? Understanding how your buyer lives helps you position your products as something that fits into that life. Now, question 5: what would make them trust a brand enough to buy? Understanding what builds trust for your specific buyer tells you exactly what content with. Alright, so I apologize for that again. Um, alright, so we are going to build this. I'll use a brand, a Nigerian brand that I came across recently as an example, and it was built around dry skin. So let's say, for example, so let's take for example, her name is Amara. She is 26 years old. She lives in Lagos, a young professional. Her main skin concern is dry skin. You know, dry skin that feels tight and uncomfortable, especially in Hamatan season. Her lifestyle is busy. She has long work days, needs time for a complicated routine. So what she has tried before is multiple drugstore moisturizers that felt greasy or maybe wore off by midday. Then what she secretly hopes this brand will do, finally find something that so the brand will finally find something that actually keeps her skin hydrated all day. So I think I'll take that again. So what she secretly hopes this brand will do for her is that um you finally find something that actually keeps her skin hydrated all day. So something made for skin like hers. The way she spends time online, TikTok late at night, Instagram maybe during lunch breaks, then YouTube skincare videos on weekends. So what makes her trust a brand? Real results from real people. So what makes her trust a brand is a real result from real people with exact skin type, not models with already perfect skin, but real people with her exact skin type. Alright, so I need you to take a look at that. Um, from what I've just said, what we built. So this is actually Amara, not a demographic. This is a person. And when a person, I mean, and when a brand creates content that speaks directly to Amara, she does not scroll past. She stops. She obviously reads, going to trust, and she will definitely buy. So that's the power of identify. Attract, step 2. You create needs to be designed to pull that specific person in. And the most important tool you have to and the important tool you have for doing that line of your caption, your first frame of your video, your first word on your graphic, It is the only thing standing between your content being read and your content being scrolled past. And you have approximately 1.7 seconds. All right. So most um right, so most beauty brands spend hours creating content and spend minutes creating the hook. That is a critical mistake because, okay, I think I'll start with the three types of hooks that consistently stops the scroll in beauty. Now, the first one, the surprising truth. You need to lead with something your buyer did not expect. Let's say, for example, your moisturizer might be the reason your skin is too dry. You know, that works because it challenges an assumption and creates instant curiosity. Then we have the call-outs. That works because it meets the buyer exactly where they are. The both segments, something beauty brands and makes the reader stop and think. So your homework today is go through your last 9 posts and look at the first line of each question. Is it a hook? If it is not stopping someone who is reading, attract it. C, connect. All right, so connect is the step 3, and this is the step most brands rush. I understand why there is a pressure to sell. There are bills to pay, and there is inventory waiting. So the temptation is to post products constantly and hope nobody and hope guys. But the truth is, people do not buy again. They buy from people they trust. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be bought. It cannot be faked. When it creates a level of loyalty that no advertising budget can replicate. So 5 types of content that connect. Well, we have scenes. We have behind the scenes. Show your people who connect with authenticity. People connect with authenticity in ways we never perfection. Just what story is the one thing no competitor can copy. Then we have the education buyer something genuinely useful. When you educate someone for free, with size and care. So we have convert, the final step. So this is the insight that changes everything. This is the insight that changes everything. By the time a buyer reaches your call to action, the decision to buy or not to buy has almost always already been made. So that decision was made in the identify step when your content spoke directly to their specific problem. So it was made in the attract step when your hook stopped their scroll. It was also made in the connect step when your educational content made them feel understood. So the sit here is not where you end the sale, it's where you confirm the sale that the previous 3 steps already built. The sit here that converts without feeling pushy. Alright, so for a sit here that converts without feeling pushing, the difference is positioning. A pushy sit here says buy this now, while a converting sit here says, alright, so this is the next step if this feels right for you. It invites instead of demands. And an invitation from someone you trust feels completely different to a demand from a stranger. And the post-purchase experience, this is where most brands lose the friendship they spend so much time building. So the sale is not the finish line. It is where the real relationship begins. A buyer who gets results will come back. They will tell their friends, and they refer people without being asked to do so. So that word of mouth is worth more than any paid campaign you could ever run. Alright, so now this is how we are going to approach this. I'm going to look at a particular brand's page through the IACT lens. So we'll start with the first impression. What do we see in first 3 seconds? Who they are talking to, the message clarity, are they building trust or just selling? And then I'll give the brand or the person 3 specific action steps they can implement this week. So I'll also send those action steps to the person in the DM after the session, so they can have them in writing. All right. Alright, so I'm giving myself exactly 3 seconds. I'm giving myself exactly 3 seconds. I'm giving myself exactly 3 seconds, same amount of time a new visitor gives a page before they decide to stay or scroll away. What do I see? A Nigerian skincare brand. You know, the colors are warm, they're clean. That is a positive first impression. Now, the profile photo looks professional. There is a founder story somewhere in the bio which tells me there is a human behind this brand. But what I notice immediately is that I'm not sure who this brand is for. In 3 seconds, I cannot tell if this is for dry skin, oily skin, all skin types, or a specific skin concern. That uncertainty is a first crack in the trust. Now, so for the first impression, we have this. Visual is appealing, but buyer clarity is missing. Now, who are they talking to? I'm going to look at looking at the last 9 posts and asking who is this brand speaking to. Okay. So for the first post, it speaks to everyone with skin. Then the second post mentions dry skin specifically. Now the third post, it speaks to people with acne. And the fourth post speaks to everyone again. Now, do you see the problem? In 4 posts, there are 3 different audiences. We have the one for dry skin, acne, everyone. Like the brand is literally having three different conversations simultaneously, which means nobody feels like this brand was built specifically for them. I remember the feeling of being built specifically for someone is what converts. So the brand was actually started because of the founder's dry skin. That is your buyer. And that is the person who should feel like this brand is their answer. But right now she's scrolling past because the content is not specific enough to stop her. Now is the message clear? So I'm asking, if I landed on this page for the very first time, do I know immediately what this brand does or who it is for? I'm going to the bio. Bio says natural skincare for glowing skin, and that tells me what? Natural skincare. But it does not tell me who. Who specifically is this for? And it does not tell me why as well. Why should I trust this over the 50 other natural skincare brands I have seen today? Now, a clear message answers three questions in seconds. What do you sell? Who is it for? What results does it deliver? A stronger bio might be dry skin solutions for Nigerian women who are tired of moisturizers that stop working by midday. Now, that is clear. That stops the scroll. That makes Amara, our 26-year-old Lagos professional, feel seen. Now, are they educating or just selling? This is actually one of the most important questions I ask in my audit or in any audit I do. I'm scrolling through the content now and counting. Okay, so for product posts, 6 out of 9. Educational posts, 2 out of 9. Now, story or founder posts, 1 out of 9. That ratio tells me this brand is selling before it is connecting. Now, 67% of the content is asking for the scale. Only 22% is building trust. Only 11% is showing the human behind the brand. And remember what we covered in the psychology section: people do not buy from strangers, they buy from people they trust. You cannot build that trust in a product post. Never. Now, the buyer needs to see educational content first. They need to feel like this brand understands their skin before they will ever spend money on a product for their skin. So this brand has the product right. The content ratio is what needs fixing. Then what is missing? I'm going to put this together, everything we found. So what is missing? Number one, buyer clarity. The content speaks to too many people. It needs to pick one primary skin concern and build every post around that person's specific goal. Now, what is missing to the founder story at the front? The fact that this brand was started because of the founder's own dry skin is the most powerful thing about it, and it is buried. It should be the first thing a new visitor sees. So that story is the reason Amara should trust this brand over every other person or over every other brand. Now, what is missing? 3, educational content that guides the buyer. Now, there's no content that teaches a buyer about their dry skin, explains why their current products are failing them, or shows them how to build a routine that actually works. That educational gap is costing this brand sales every single day. And none of these are product problems, they are all strategy problems. And every single one is completely fixable. Now, the three specific action steps, I'm going to send those to your DM after the session so you can have them in writing. All right, so we're in the final stretch, section 5, your action plan. And that is because I let you, and that's because I refuse to let you have, that is because I refuse to let you live today with just information. Information without implementation is just mental clutter, and it showed up today for something more than that. So your homework today is 5 things this week but not next month. So number 1, build your buyer avatar using the template. Look at each one of them honestly. Is this speaking to my exact buyer or not? Then 3, write one caption using this hook framework. Take a caption you have already posted, rebuild it from the hook up. See how differently it reads when it starts with your exact buyer in mind. Now 4, create one trust building piece of content, behind the scenes, educational, founder story, or something that gives before it takes. Then 5, share your biggest takeaway from today. Post it on LinkedIn or Instagram and tag me, Esther John. I want to see what actually landed most for you today. So we have 5 things and 1 week. We have 5 things to do in 1 week and not. Now, how to measure success? Now, how to measure success? Before we go into what is next, I want to tell you how to know if what you learned today is actually working. So do not measure follower count, do not measure total likes, but this is what you are meant to measure. Your engagement quality. Are the comments getting more specific? Are they more personal? Are the right people engaging? Are the right people engaging? That is people who match your buyer avatar. Are your DMs increasing from potential buyers? Is your conversion rate moving? That is of the people who visit your page. Of the people who visit your page, what percentage is okay? So of the people who visit your page, what percentage is actually buying? And are your customers coming back? Now, these are the numbers that tell the truth about whether your strategy is working, and track them. So today I gave you a framework, but implementing it for your own specific brand with your specific buyer, your specific market, and your specific goals is where the real transformation happens. And I actually want to be honest with you. I gave today for free because I believe the right thing to do when you are just starting out is to give before you take. So to prove that what you have is real, before you ask anyone to pay for it, today was that proof. Right, so today was that proof, but I am now opening a small number of strategy sessions this month. All right, so we are going to go right, so we are going to take just 1 hour deep dive into your brand, your buyer psychology, your content strategy, your positioning. Then you leave with a complete roadmap you can implement immediately. All right, so if today gave you clarity, imagine what 1 hour together. All right, so imagine what 1 hour together on your specific brand would do. I have limited spots available. So DM me the word section, and I'll send you the details. All right. Then the free brand audit is also still open. You could also DM me the word audit, and both options are in the chat. Okay, I think I actually is on the screen. Both options are on the screen right now, and I'll personally respond to every single DM when you send them. Then alright, so do not forget your bonuses are coming. The IACT method PDF summary, a complete written guide to everything we covered today, the buyer avatar template, a clickable guide to building your exact buyer profile. Then the 7-day content calendar template, a week-by-week planning tool built around the IACT method, and the full recording of today. Right, and the full recording of today's session. So you could actually revisit anything that's landed. You could actually revisit anything that landed. All of this will be sent to your email within 24 hours, just like I said. So please drop your correct email address in the chat, or you could send it to me so I can reach you. All right. All right, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for showing up today. You showed up before you felt ready. You invested time in your brand before everything was perfect. You chose strategy over hope. And so that is what sets beauty businesses that last apart from the beauty brands. So the IACT method is not just a strategy, it is a complete shift in how you think about your buyer, your content, and your brand. So you showed up today, you did the work, and I need you to go and implement it. All right, so I cannot wait to see what you're going to build. And if you have any, I think I said that already. If you have any problem in anything you want to do, feel free to reach out. My DM is always open. And finally, before I let you go, do well to like and subscribe to our channel Now, yes. All right, so thank you so much for being here, and go and build something beautiful. All right, and let's make it go. Thank you. Bye.